jasna pire soo ko bëggee fii si biir Gambia bi dawal foofu sa quality jasna your number one stop shop. Ana sama jigéen ñi dama bëgg ngeen jox ma seen nopp garme yi ndaxte quality jasna amal nañ leen ay til yu toj daala poos abaaya yu yiiw waaye it amal nañ leen ay boreda yu rafet boreda yoo xam ne pour góor ñi la ak pour jigéen ñi amal nañ leen body scrub yi nga xam ne nii dafay defar seen yaram bam nice waaye it fàttewuñ fa diw yi. Ana sama jeeg yu pare yi quality jasna amal nañ leen fa andi cuuraay yu neex house spray ak bépp xeetu baax pour seen biir néeg. Dama ne atum ren jii ku sa jëkkër mere ku ne yow la neex ndaxte quality jasna ñëw na si dëkk bi pour defar sëy yi. Makeup artist yi bàyyi leen gannaaw ñu ngi leen fa amal ay makeup product yu quality waxu leen léegi nii foofu sa Westfield jàkkaarloog monument bi wala nga jokkoo quality jasna si 250 01 24 ak quality jasna taaral sa bopp taaral sa néeg waaye it dëggal sa alaaji aas.
Thank you very much, honorable members. The Accountant General Department and National Audit Office, as well as the subject matter specialists, welcome to the meeting. Last week we met with the Accountant General Department on the follow-up on the updates on the resolutions of the National Assembly. And today we are meeting again with the Accountant General. Specifically, the one for last week was on unretired impress. It happens that formed part of the resolutions that we are going through to get the update. If you can see it clearly, the 29 September 2022 resolution, the number one resolution is the unretired impress. So that means we've dealt with that part. We've given you a timeline when we're supposed to give us. I think the announcement was supposed to be done. You need to communicate to those affected so that if they still could not effect the payment, then publication can be done. Now today we'll have the update on the same 29 September. If there is any issue still unresolved on 29 September 2022, and then 14 September 2023, and the last one is 18 September 2023. The issues that concern the Accountant General Department are the ones we expect to update from the department. So that is our update with the Accountant General Department, and this is effective 30th September 2024. To begin with, Accountant General, I think you have the copy of the resolutions? Okay, let's get to the first one, that is the 29 September 2022. The first page, page 1, we have number 1, that is all standing impress be retired by October 31st, 2022. And the Accountant General Department had been given a series of updates on that. As I indicated earlier on, last week, there was update on that, and then we were able to identify the ones that were recovered through the payroll, the ones that were fully retired, and then the outstanding ones. And we task that you identify the ones that are deceased so that it can be classified and categorized that way. And the ones that are not in payroll, the mechanism can be done for them to do the payment or otherwise. And for that, we need to do the publication so that they know that they are still affected. If they still cannot effect the payment, then what mechanism should be done? The committee would be recommending that. So that was our position as far as the outstanding interests are concerned. That is the Resolution 1 of 2022, September 29th. Now, if you follow that particular resolutions, number 6, oh, not number 6, sorry. Yes? Pardon? Ah, okay. You want to see my face? I'm not also seeing your face. Let me move this way.
I can take you a bit back to the impress.
Okay.
Just to confirm our understanding of what our role entails in the entire process. We had already provided the Audit as of 17th of October, and we have also collected the list to be published. But,
so sorry, you said you have?
We have submitted the update as per category.
Okay.
Through our letter dated 17th of October. I believe this you received. But also, additionally, I wanted to confirm, because I had made mention that we should engage that after which we publish. My understanding was that we should go ahead and publish. Those within the public sector, but not within central government, we should still write to them. But that is not, that does not mean we are not, we will not be excluding them from the publication. That's my understanding.
That is those in the public sector.
But not within central government. We will still publish, but at the same time write to them.
Exactly.
And we're giving them 1 month for them to come and retire, in the absence of which then necessary action will be taken. So I'm sure by Monday we should be sending this to the various channels of communication. Of course, in the interim, 1 or 2 came forward to retire. We must have to discount those, but we're going ahead with the publication.
When do you intend to do with the publication?
We've already done with the draft. We just want to internally confirm, and I'm sure by early next week we should be sending it to the various media houses.
Okay.
I don't understand. I just need one clarification. Did she say that they are going to publish the ones for
Not those at the central government or everybody? I think I missed that part.
Clara?
Our understanding is that we're going to publish everybody, including those already deceased.
Okay.
But at the same time, we will write to those within the public sector, but not within the central government.
Okay.
Because of course, they've all been, this communication had prior been done. It's just a matter of a reminder.
Reminder, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that clear, Honorable? Okay. No issue? Okay, let's continue with the rest of the resolutions under 29 September 2022. I think with that, the one that concern honorable members, you guide, yes?
Before you proceed from one thing, I think we should confirm the publication that the deadline for publication, because we cannot just wait.
Yeah, she said they've already drafted by next week. Huh?
So if they say next week, that falls within the 30 days. So I think we should be concerned if at all they don't do the publication till after 30 days. But since they are saying next week,
Yeah,
I think
that's what I'm trying to say. They've already done the drafting. Yes, by next week, they will send it to the media, relevant media houses. Yes, by next week, yes. So from resolution 1, I stand to be corrected. I think the next one that concerns the Accountant General is resolution 9. Huh? That all government projects shall use the IFMIS system for all the accounting processes by the end of this final year 2022. And we want an update on that, Accountant General.
Mr. Chair, I'll wait on the status of the implementation. Thank you.
you. So far, we have been doing the rollout for all the subvented and the self-accounting project. Basically, we have so far we have rolled out to most of the subvented agencies. Around about 26 of them are already on board. 26 of them are already on board. And then the SAPs also, we have self-accounting projects. We are also rolling out for the self-accounting projects. So we are facing some kind of resistance in terms of accepting the system, which gives us some challenges in terms of achieving the number that we want to achieve in terms of the rollout. But for the subvented, was moving very smoothly. That's why we have almost achieved more than a half of the subvented agencies, because the number is around 50-something subvented agencies, and we currently roll it out to around about 26 subvented agencies are already using the IFMIS. That includes all the general hospitals who are 100% using the IFMIS. Some have even produced their financial statements using the IFMIS. So the self-accounting projects, we are struggling with them in terms of accepting the IFMIS as their main system, though some started using the IFMIS as their system, but still that resistance is there. So for the embassies, those ones we have completed their rollout. All the embassies are using, the sub-treasuries, all of them are using, the local councils also. All the local councils have been rolled out. All the 8 local area councils have been rolled out, and they are all fully using the IFMIS, and the system is capable of producing the financial statement. And they have been taken through everything from start to finish, including the production of the financial statements. But the main challenges with most of these implementing agencies is the acceptance, the full acceptance. Some will accept, but it's kind of like partial acceptance. And then you come up with some small excuses. This report is not coming, which is not a showstopper for you to be able to produce your financial statement. So because all of them are having their accounts office, we have been seeing most of them claiming that the system is not giving them what they want, but yet still they have already put your information in the system. You should be able to generate your financial statement using the IFMIS, because other remote entities like BIAM have already produced, which are very fast, so you cannot still complain that it's internet and all those things. You are in the combo. So basically, if there is acceptance from them and there is that commitment, we believe that the system, the solution, the software solution is only one solution. Once another person can utilize it to achieve what you want, you should also use it to achieve what you want. If you need some other infrastructure, you should put it in your budget and get the right internet and get the right, if you want, you can do the LAN, you invest in it and then use the system fully, just like other entities are doing. But so far we are moving fine, and especially for the subvented, we are nearly completing the subvented agencies to be fully utilizing the IFMIS. But for the self-accounting projects, that's where we have some kind of resistance in terms of accepting the system as their core financial management system. Thank you.
How you did for the case of the response for the update was in writing. And also whether this update is leaking.
I don't think we've written just like Impress to respond to this in writing. Okay.
What are they resisting, and what are the implications of that? Because up to now, we said they are about 50 something, and we only have about 26, which is about 52% compliant. And I think this is about a system that a lot of money was spent on to upgrade, and they are still resisting. Why are they resisting, and what are the implications, and what are you doing about it?
Yes, basically the resistance is best known to them because it's just somehow probably you are used to what you are doing, and now when that change comes, there is more transparency and there is more access to information because the system you are using, maybe probably you are the only one who has access, but now when it is on the IFMIS, somebody can be sitting even at the level of the Accountant General or at anywhere in another agency. Once you have the access, you have access to all the information. So probably that kind of transparency, the willingness to expose may not also be there. And some are also complaining that they don't have, their internet is not strong, but yet still you will find them in their offices using their router on their own laptop. So you cannot dedicate that resource to the system, but you have dedicated that internet for personal use and other activities. So it's still not adding up. So they will use some of those things also as excuse, and some will say we don't have infrastructure here and there. But all those things are some things that if you are committed, you can allocate funds and invest in some of them, and then just like how other entities have done. Some other entities, they are committed to it, and then they provide funds, and we send them a team to give assessment for the local area, and they invested in it and have the local area, plus they have the internet. So they have two ways. They can be able to use the system anywhere in the world using the internet through any connect, and they can also be able to use it through the land local area network once they are in town, and then you will not have the issue of when the internet is down, I cannot access the system. So it's all about commission. Basically, those are the excuses that they normally use. What we are doing about what? Yeah, that's what we are saying. We are always following up with them to use the system. So. Mm-hmm.
Allow them to do business as usual after spending all this money, because that is the attitude that we are trying to change. Are you just sitting saying that they are comfortable not doing it and you are okay with it?
No. We are in fact we are putting pressure on them to use it all the time. In fact, recently for the self-accounting projects, we are now trying to use the donors like the World Bank and the IMF to include it as a requirement for them to use the IFMIS. They have started doing that. That is mandatory for them to use the IFMIS. They will not pay for any other software to be used other than IFMIS. So they've started introducing that in any of the agreements, especially the new ones. Any agreement they have, they put it as a condition. The system to be used is going to be IFMIS. So probably once those projects, especially the new ones, come, they will not have any other options, like we are having with one of them who is fairly new, and they put that condition there, and they cannot escape by using another system. So those are some of the things that we use to put pressure on them. You said?
Can you say that the salaries will not be posted on, or they will not be paid salaries until they start using it?
For the self-accounting project, the problem is they are kind of independent, so we don't have control of their salary. They don't come through, their payments don't come through Accountant General. They have their own accounts.
Yes, thank you very much. Yeah. Okay, I just want to go into the area councils as far as on your updates. How far are they going with the usage of this IFMIS and some of the challenges they may face, because some of them, live in a remote areas, where sometimes, there could be internet problem. So in case there is an internet failure, what should they do for that particular day?
Councils and the like. We have even started giving them the land. We have buy the land materials, equipment to connect them to the local area network, whereby even without internet, they will still be able to have access to the system. So we've started doing that. So, but most of them are using the system actually. Basically, it's more or less like spending your time to put in your data inside the system fully. Because the system also is not like it's not available, like even if the internet is down or whatsoever, it's not like it's not available throughout. This is accounting. It's like even if it's not available, internet is down today, when internet comes up, whatever you miss, you put it in there. You just need the information inside the system. Like, for example, you have other countries like China. They even block the internet for you to access time to time. But what happens is that the particular accountant there, he uses his own method, whereby he will wait for the periods whereby it will be available and make sure that his books is correct and everything is intact, and he always submits in time. That is commitment. Yeah, as an accountant, you should be able to know how to find your way around until you have land. And that land, in fact, we almost covered all of them very soon for them to all have the land, especially for the hospitals. Yes. For the training on the system, we've trained all of them on the system, and then we also have dedicated staffs who are working with them every day to support them in terms of any issues they have. That is every day. So it's like on the job, we have already given them training to all their staffs, and at the same time, it's like an everyday training. It's on the job. If you get stuck, you fall back, and then we support you.
Because on the side of that one is okay.
They are trained. They are trained. So some may say, I don't have the number of staff, but that is your own institutional arrangement. That's not our own problem.
Let's have clarity around the issue of the internet. Based on your own assessment, is the internet an issue?
Internet generally in the country, sometimes it's fluctuates. But that is not a sufficient deterrent from using the system, because even us, the Accountant General's department, we are using the system, and we are also using the same internet. Everybody is on the same internet. Some of them are even privileged to have fiber, and they will still be complaining. You know, that is not still an excuse. I think the internet, in some areas, we will not say they are not affected, but most of them, it's not an excuse for them not to be using the system. It's not a sufficient excuse.
When you say in some areas, you would not say they are not affected. What do you mean?
Like maybe it's in the up countries, somehow they may have proper breakdown of internet in terms of accessibility. Like the experience we got from area Mansoko, one of the sub treasuries, like they have fiber. Somehow that in fact is not about not accessing the system. They did not pay. It's like you do not pay the fiber, they cut you off for how many months or whatsoever. That is also another human implication. So basically, most of it is human implication than the actual system. So I think they should be able to use it if you are really ready to use it.
That's the fact. Because
yes.
We are all part and parcel of society.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, even at personal level, we know that the quality of internet we are having is good.
Yes.
Disruptions are meant to happen.
Yes.
But that should not materially affect you to a point that you cannot do your job.
Sure, exactly.
And the other issue I want to bring up will be more of a recommendation to Chair. Chair, with regards to both the subvented and self-accounting institutions, by way of update, can we have a comprehensive list which will indicate how many of those institutions have really complied with regard to the usage of the IFMIS and which ones are pending?
Sure, we will provide that.
This will also enable our follow-up mechanism.
Yeah, we will provide that, sure.
Thank you.
I think that is what I wanted to push. If you have to submit the rating updates, you categorize them. Both the subvented and the self-accounting. The ones that comply and the ones that have not yet complied. Okay?
Yeah, sure, we will summarize that and provide.
Revenue collection by third parties shall be handed over to the Kambak Sand Mining at the Denton Bridge the takeover needs to be delayed until the government revenue collection platform is ready and operational. Collection of taxes or non-tax revenue and payment proceeding will be done via collection agents, credit, debit card, internet banking, mobile wallet, point of sale, bank tellers, and the web portal. The collection of government revenue needs to be centralized. Accountant General, we need an update on that.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And our staff are contractually binding. So as such, it's only after the contract elapses or government acts otherwise that we can exit. And these contracts are the Africa biometric, the secure report, even though I will give you details of the update on the secure report, but the Africa still, the contract still obtains until otherwise maybe terminated by government or by both parties. So the next solution also, it's still binding. I think so far so good, those are the two.
Sorry, the two you mean the NIC and?
The NIC and the Africa biometric passport.
Africa?
Yes.
Those ones are still binding?
Yes. Then for the SEMLEX, the contract has been terminated with the third party, and currently the collection is being handled by government and through a commercial bank. So essentially all the revenue is being paid through a commercial bank to the Consular Revenue Fund. That's the update on SEMLEX as we speak. Then for the secure report, also is under a binding contract, but recently there has been some developments to that effect, in the sense that government is working on having a platform that will avail the opportunity to travelers to pay online. That is at an advanced stage, and when such is done, government will be collecting the funds using an online platform, whilst we do the sharing to the other party. So, but the cash collection at the airport, if it will still be valid until otherwise, the contract is terminated, which is still valid. But of course, this is just an update on an additional channel of collection, which is currently on the Accountant General's Department that we envisage to collect. And that's just in a bid to avoid the congestion, given that most of the travelers would prefer to pay online as opposed to having to queue at the ports, at the airport. So that's on the secure report. Then for the SINA.
Before you post, for the security report, who goes the collection of the revenue?
Yes, the collection is currently being done by the company itself, and it is being collected through an account which is not under our jurisdiction. That is what currently obtained. But of course, this add-on facility would be under us, and we'll be sharing the revenue.
Do you have any idea regarding the timeline of the contract?
I would have to go refresh myself. I can't remember, but I could obtain the contract for you. Yeah. Then for the Sino Majila, the one at the Denton Bridge, that account is not being maintained by a third party. The collections are currently being deposited into a bank account that is controlled by the Accountant General's Department. So I wouldn't want to categorize this as third party, because the correction is wholly and solely under our custody. And also, additionally, overall, as it relates to the collection of government through a digitized platform, we just want to give you an update to say we have commenced it has been operational since July, and we commenced the implementation with the Ministry of Interior. We have brought on board all the passport fees using the payment platform. We've also brought on board recently the Ministry of Justice as well as the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. We still have 10 entities, but of course the biggest entities is the Ministry of Local Government. Also, we've also brought on board Ministry of Finance, so they are all using the system, meaning that the revenues collected are wholly and solely collected through the banks. Of course, you have the working in customer, and you have the option of the app if you want to use the government app. So it is envisaged that by the end of the year, we would have brought all the government entities on board this payment gateway, and meaning that that is the non-tax component, just to be specific, meaning that all government revenue will now be collected through the payment gateway. Of course, the channels are the working in customers, and also we also have the option of the app. You could also do it online, but all the other channels have been worked on, i.e. through the mobile money operators that we envisage to have them shortly on board. So that's just to give you an overall, to say this much progress has been done, and we expect that by the early next year we should be able to do a full-blown inauguration of this platform, so that everybody would be aware of this new approach in terms of collection of government revenue. Well, I have some notes. Yeah, some of them it's as per the notes I compiled for my place, but I could provide an update, formalize this. Okay. Allow us Monday, sir, so that we can, yes.
The justifications and innovations advanced by her, it seems like it does not answer the query here, because the recommendation is that any existing revenue collection by third parties shall be handed over to the Accountant General within 90 days. And these innovations that, and with the introduction of that platform, that means a third party. And one of the other reasons advanced here is the issue of the security port. One of the reasons is that people may get bored by queuing to pay. That's not the reason. People think that that is a border, and it is deterring tourists from coming to the Gambia. And again, there is also another contract by a third party at the airport, which is new, which is not highlighted in this report or your statement. So can you put on more light? Because based on the Public Finance Act, all government revenue should be collected by the Accountant General, not a third party. More or less, we don't have much as a country. Now we are sharing the little that we have with third parties. Thank you very much.
And that is listed from A to F. So that those are the ones considered to be third party. But she also noted that one of them cannot be considered a third party. So the development surrounding those ones, now they are 6. Now they are reduced to 5. Some of them, there is issue of their contract. Until when the contract elapses, or else no action can be taken on, or if the government terminated the contract. The ones that their contract has ended are the ones they can act on. But the ones that their contracts are still valid, that one they cannot act on them unless and until the contracts are acted otherwise. That's the explanation. So all that she intended, we are saying we need a written form of it. Now that is going to be written form of us in
detail, yeah.
For the other one, that is the legal, I'm not sure that is part of the query, but if it is considered to be a third party, yes, Accountant General, you can clear our doubt. Earlier on it was not indicated to be a third party. But we want to know whether I can fall under that category.
Sorry, Mr. Chair, I was distracted. Can you please? Sorry.
Yes, I think I was doing clarification, but after I think there is a point that you also hit.
Okay.
Regarding the Nero company at the airport. How would you classify the company? Is it a third party?
Are you aware of it?
Then we had this resolution. Nero did not.
Yes, maybe Nero was not into play then.
Yeah.
Maybe perhaps it can be brought on board based on the details. I personally am not privy to this Nero contract, and maybe my colleagues are privy to it. So
No. I think, Mr. Kia, maybe you give us time to find out the details of that agreement. Yeah, so that we know whether it is private or public or both. Yeah.
The point that I was making is that we have been advancing here. It is against our own rules to outsource the collection of public funds to a third party. You understand? And this is what this recommendation is saying. But yet we are seeing more of those kinds of revenue collections happening. So that is why I highlighted this Nero. You understand? So, but what I'm saying is based on her submission, what she has said about the revenue collection and what the recommendation, this document is saying is contrary. It seems like we are not yet prepared to, collect our own revenues by our Accountant General's office.
yes, perhaps like I said, I not preview to this arrangement of Nero. I do not want to conclude to say my AG is not aware, but allow us to go back, because if we are a party to this, we wouldn't have accepted such. You have instances where contracts would be, concluded and, signed off by entities that are representing government, and even unbeknown to us. Because just to say, most of these contracts that you've seen here, we only brought it on board when we had to, investigate. Sometimes we're not even privy to this contract. So allow us to go back and see what this Nero contract entails. Then we can know how to, we can give an update and maybe give details. But I cannot say much because.
That's about this security fee. Before, the security fee at the airport that they are collecting. Yes. We don't even know who was collecting and who was even managing the account. It was said, Minister of Interior, whether this could also be investigated so that we know before they just take over.
So I asked her, she said to the security court, who does the collection? Who does the collection?
The collection is being done by security. Like I said, the online component would be collected through an online platform for which we would be in control and we do the sharing. But for the over-the-counter at the port will still, hold as is until maybe the contract elapses or government and the party decides to act otherwise.
Yes, yeah. And if they can also furnish us with the registration of Nero, that company that is collecting funds, the airport, if they can furnish us with the registration and the shareholders of that company as well.
I will not accept that. I think the issue is update on the resolution. But their legitimacy, I think that is not related to the resolution.
Is it going to be basically online, or there will be another option in terms of things? Because sometimes there are certain travelers, they may not be able to use the online system. So whether there will be any, multiple options.
And is to facilitate for those who those who are digital. The jollers and the fullers can still queue and do their own bit at the airport. That's still an option that is available. The conventional way of the mode of payment would still be available.
9th September 2022, we can now proceed to the second one. That is the 14th September 2023. And that the one, I think, members can guide me. They are listed from 1 up to 10.
Yeah.
It appears there is none for that resolution, or those resolutions that concern the Accountant General. Okay.
Number 14.
Page 6. Are you there?
Yes.
The first one, number 1, the MDS to provide FPAC with comprehensive list of all fraudulent cases across government institutions, particularly the Accountant General's Office, the Auditor General's Office, the Inspector General of Police, and the Judiciary, including names, accounts, dates, and their current status, failure of which the Inspector General of Police must launch an investigation immediately and report back to FPAC within 90 days. Well, that partly concerned the Accountant General, whether that listing was done, and then, huh? Whether the listing was done, and then if no action has been taken, the Inspector General will take it up for action. It is already an action point for the Inspector General. So I think what we are interested of is the comprehensive list. Maybe that's what concerns the Accountant General, whether that was done.
Mr. Chair, we have the comprehensive list. The loss that is currently involved is $602,000, and the status is investigation completed. The Gambia Immigration Department, the Seaport case. I don't have the dates. I could have this incorporated when providing the updates officially. Yeah. The current amount involved is $602,000, and the status is yes. Okay. Investigation completed and sent to the courts. That's the current status. Maybe we allow, it's like somebody wants to give the latest update on this.
Well, I think we leave that for the Inspector General.
Yes. Yeah. So this is from our end, from our perspective. Yes.
And then the investigation part of it. The Inspector General is coming.
In fact, this is just shortly after the incident. I can obtain the details, but of course, this update this was as a result of our consultation with the Inspector General of Police then. But of course, maybe further progress would have been made. Perhaps you will update that when they arrive. But as of the last status, this was the status. Investigation completed and sent to the courts. Yes.
Just a quick update. I believe the case is already over now. I think they were sentenced to a fine in default to serve an imprisonment term. So that the matter has been concluded and judgment was passed. Maybe you can seek that update from the Ministry of Justice, as they were the prosecuting authority on that matter. Convicted and sentenced to a fine in default to serve an imprisonment term. This was to our knowledge, but you can confirm with the Attorney General prosecuting authority.
Okay, the next case is the Procurement Health Center. and the amount that was involved, it actually related to unaccounted revenue collection. Some recoveries were done then, and there was a balance of 273,674. But with support from the police, the balance has now been recovered of 273,674 and paid back to government. 273,674 has been recovered. The entire balance of 273,674, meaning that the entire amount for this case has been recovered.
So that's the balance?
Yes.
And that
Sir.
balance has been recovered?
Yes, sir.
Next.
The other case is the Birkama Sub-Treasury unaccounted revenue to the tune of 6,592,172.5.
6 million?
592,172.5.
Birkama Sub-Treasury?
Yes, please.
Yes.
The update is it was still at the courts.
Still at the court?
Yes.
Which year was this?
I will have to. Unfortunately, I don't have the details of. I don't have the dates incorporated. Yes. In here. The other case is the Kerewan Sub-Treasury unaccounted cash of 2,136,327.61. And the status is the case is still at the level of the police.
Still at the level of the
Police, that's our update.
okay.
Then Janjambure Sub-Treasury unaccounted cash 521,000. Yes, Sub-Treasury.
500.
And 21,000. Also this one, the update is still at the level of police. Then the next case had to do with the then Directorate of National Treasury. That was at AGD, and it involved a total sum of 4 million.
Directorate of
National Treasury, then Accountant General's Department. 4 million 064 363.15. Mr. Chair, for this case, we by way of public information, we are aware that they were prosecuted, but what we would need at the level of the Minister of Finance and AGD to perhaps have this as a loss that is written is we will need this confirmation from the Minister of Justice.
confirmation.
Yes, that the case is now done, it's a done deal, because I'm sure if the culprits have already been sentenced, they serve their respective jail terms, then the case will be closed. So perhaps there wouldn't be any point keeping this in the books of government, but we would need something from the Minister of Justice to that effect, because we have a loss advisory committee, which comprises of Accountant General, Auditor General, and PS as the chair. So they are mandated to write off this loss, but we would need something from the Minister of Justice to that effect for them to go ahead. But we are not looking at perhaps recovering anything from this case. Then Department of Forestry and Parks, an amount was recovered. Then there is still a balance of 329,440.
What amount was recovered?
510,060 was recovered.
510.
060.
And the balance?
325,440.
325,440.
So the update is that investigation completed and sent to the courts. Then the other case is mission in Guinea-Bissau. Yes, the Gambia embassy in Guinea-Bissau. The amount involved was 390,032 bottles. And for this one, the case is still at the police. Yeah. Then there is the mission in Paris, involving an amount of 1,549,350. 549,350. Yes, and the update is that this case is at the courts. Yes, then I have the last one, the Intellectual Property Office. An amount of 10,410,000 was involved, allegedly completed, but 410,000. Yes, but I believe this is still at the police. I know we had provided a chunk of documentation to the police to that effect, but I can't tell whether it has gotten to the courts as the intellectual property. Perhaps you can find out from police whether that's the one at the Ministry of Justice that involved false IFMIS receipts to the tune of this amount. So that is it for, to the best, this is to this extent has come to our knowledge. Perhaps we could have others, but this much we have.
That's about 10 cases.
Yes, sir. So, but I will provide the update alongside with the dates as part of this.
Yes, cases.
There are alleged frauds, and it's only the police that can confirm, because our duty is to report to the police.
Okay.
So when the police does its work, then they can confirm with us whether it was an actual fraud or not. So they're all coming as suspected cases until the right institution does what that needs to be done to conclude on whether it's actual fraud or not.
Okay, now let's take it at two levels. Let's suspect it as a fraudulent case. Normally, what becomes the fate of the employee or the people who are suspected of the fraud? Are they still part of the system?
They allow them to go through the process in confirming whether it's a fraud or not. They go through an interdiction process.
Did that happen?
This is a case. This will be a case-by-case basis. Maybe I would have to go back, because I know for most of them.
Can you go through the cases again? You confirm to us the status of the personnel involved, whether they are still in the system or not.
Maybe starting from the immigration, I can say much whether they have been interdicted. Perhaps from immigration I can tell. We would have to go back and confirm, because we have the names of the individuals who are involved. Then the Bikama sub-treasury, that's the one that has paid up, this is almost 15 years ago. I will have to go find out, but what I know is that it's still working with government. That's the Bikama sub-treasury.
The individual is still working with government?
Yes.
Okay.
Then for the Bikama, that's a health center. Then for the sub-treasury, he is not, he's out of jurisdiction, the Bikama sub-treasury. And some of these cases, they are almost 15, 20 years ago. We would have to go back, because some of them I learned they are deceased. I know the Bikama sub-treasury is not in town. The Kerewan sub-treasury also is no longer working with government. He would have retired long ago. The Janjanpuri sub-treasury also, it's no longer working with government. The Directorate of Treasury, As far as I know, those who were involved are no longer, from Accountant General, they are no longer with Accountant General. Perhaps we would have to confirm those who were involved from the security institutions. We would have to confirm because we have the details. Then forestry, I know he's not in town, he's not in Gambia. Then the mission in Bissau, he is in town, but he's not mentally stable. The mission in Paris is the same as Birkama Sub-Treasury, he's also not in Gambia. And for the intellectual property, I definitely have no details of those involved. Perhaps we can go back and maybe work on obtaining the details and confirm whatever you want to confirm for those that we are not sure of.
Chair, by way of update, I'll propose that we have the full details of the individuals involved and their status.
But Mr. Chair, please give me beyond Monday because this would involve a lot of consultation for this one. Okay. I think specifically our understanding of the update had to do with the cases and the status, but not to the extent of the details of who were involved. I think this was not coming as to, to the fact that we had to provide details of who were involved and what their status is. That wasn't the understanding, and perhaps that's the reason why we did not drill into those. Of course, some are very obvious because some of them are our staff. But like the likes of the security, the seaports and so on, that wasn't the understanding, and that's the reason why perhaps it's not part of the update we provided. We would have.
They have to give us the names, amount, dates, and the current status. So some of them, the accountant general may not be in position to put in the register if it is at the level of the jurisdiction or at the place when it is at the level of the place. So what we're supposed to get, the information we're supposed to get from her is the list. The accountant general will submit the report to the police. The police will do the investigation. When the investigation is completed, what it to the judiciary for advice and then for prosecution. Has that been done? If the prosecution has been done, the case is completed, then all that. So that's why we have them here. Then having them will give us the hint on what we will need from the police. Now that the police will be coming, they will also give us their part of the story. If you have to give the update, make sure in fact, as part of the resolution, it needs the amount, dates, and then the status. Not only the status that is supposed to be given, but all this should be part of the update. Yes, so we can have time to,
Is it for everything?
So all the items for 31st, or do we have to, or we provide the generic update, the overall update by the 31st, including the orders that you requested?
Inform of whether there are any other fraudulent cases which are not captured by the Accountant General's fund. Was the resolution of the 18th September. It is saying the Accountant General's office, the Auditor General's office, the IVP and the judiciary, comprehensive list of all fraudulent cases across government institutions.
I was made to understand that the only one that was not highlighted as part of this was the COVID issues of suspected fraud relating to the COVID-19 funds. Yes, those ones were not part of the ones listed. Yes, but however, it's important to state that there are numerous other issues of suspected fraud after this period that were also informed of the Accountant General, and they also actually have sent us requests to further investigate some of those issues. The gravity of these matters are really concerning to some extent. They're very, very concerning. The trend is not very promising on that area. And we would definitely strongly recommend the relevant authorities to take strong actions for deterrences of these actions. Indeed, we need to send very strong signals for actions of this nature, not to just merely put people on administrative leave and long, never-ending investigations and not recovering the funds, putting them on criminal prosecutions without a concurrent civil litigation that will help the government to recover the monies that were lost. If you take the case of the COVID as an example, that we understand, and it's, I think, a public knowledge that it's a criminal prosecution is ongoing. But how about the civil recovery of those funds? If it is confirmed that the deliveries were not made, then we need our money back. So I think that is very important, and I think the committee's recommendations in that area is very much welcome. That the committee has recommended in this resolution and previously also that strong enforcement action be taken to recover the monies and to deter people from committing some of these issues, and not only to demote them or to transfer them to from one place to another, but to take the necessary disciplinary actions in relation to the gravity of these cases. Thank you, Honorable.
Honorable members, when I think this particular resolution, this resolution number one, is it number one? Huh?
Yes, number one.
Number one. It appears is related to another resolution on the 29th September. Just a minute. Else, on that resolution point, can we proceed in the absence of no other issue on that? Accountant General, let's proceed with the next one, and that has to do with Resolution 2, 18 September 2023. That all unreconciled government transactions indicated in the 2019 audited accounts be reconciled by the Accountant General before the end of the That all unreconciled government transactions indicated in the 2019 audited accounts be reconciled by the Accountant General before the end of the financial year 2023, and a report sent to FPAC, failure of which the Permanent Secretary of Finance must punish the people concerned. Reconciliation by the Accountant General are ongoing, and the matter to be followed up in the Accountant General's with the Accountant General Department. Yes.
Analysis of the outstanding transaction. Of course, what we could not achieve then was that the deployment, because you're looking at the scope of the scope you're looking at is up to 2019, and we had submitted the 2020 as well as the 2021 as well as 2022. So it is only of recent that we've commenced the deployment of these adjustments in the financial state, in the books of government, in actual fact. But what we had done is to do a comprehensive analysis of these pending issues. Of course, I just want to say reconciliation has been a very complex component of what we do, given the fact that reconciliation is centralized at Accountant General's Department, whilst most of the transactions are like decentralized. For instance, you would have most of these entities
paying into bank accounts for which we are expected to reconcile centrally. So sometimes you could see transactions for which you would have to do a detailed follow-up as to, number one, even the one that to establish the individual that does the deposit into that very account. So it has been a very complex bit, even though we are of the view that especially as it relates to revenue, with the payment gateway, we would do away with the revenue reconciliation in the sense that this is not going to be collected by individuals. But I must acknowledge the fact that it has been a very demanding component of what we do. But I think in-house what we have done is that we have segmented the reconciliation into different components, whereby for any given account, we have designated individuals to look at them. Because whatever had happened in the past, going forward, we want to ensure that we do not find ourselves in this situation. But overall, I want to say we had done the analysis, but currently we are doing the deployment, and as such, even whereby we provide the analysis, it's just going to be mere analysis, but the deployment we are doing as we've just opened the period to work on the revised 2021 and 2022, which is the earliest period we can deploy the unreconciled issues. Deploying this in the system. Give us up to the end of the month, then yeah.
To FPAC within 90 days. Yes. And no response was received relating to all unpresented payment vouchers and supporting documents amounting to $392.91.67. More updates are needed from the Accountant General Department. Only the payment voucher for 20,000 remains outstanding.
It was only 20,000 that was pending, and that was the only trial. And of course, we had provided an update on this way back in October 2023. We have the details of the letter, but we are saying although the 20,000 could not be traced, we could not trace the original voucher. We had an evidence of its validity by providing an attestation from both the service provider and the recipient of the service, that's the ministry that contracted the service. And we provided this. We went back to the service provider and he gave us an attestation to the fact that he provided that service. We were also able to print this voucher because this is in the IFMIS, but that much we could go. So it's only the 20,000, and that much also is feasible as far as we're concerned because we can't trace the voucher. So, but we had some additional evidence, and as part of the updates, we've made mention of our submission through this letter reference to provide this 20,000. Okay.
What was the service provided for the 20,000?
No, it's saying when.
No, what was the service provided?
What or when?
What service was
it was
you said you went to the service
maintenance of AC for one of the ministries.
Maintenance of AC for one of the ministries.
Yeah.
And just for clarification, did you submit that evidence here in October 2023, or did you provide it to NAO for further verification?
I submitted to your office, and I have the letter reference that we used to submit that evidence.
Yeah, so I think what we need to do is I think the sufficiency of that evidence needs to be evaluated by NAO. So I think we can equally direct them by way of what survey they can survey copy to NAO as well.
That is to say, out of the
Exactly. In fact, the 392, I believe there was an error with the whosoever was compiling this, because this was the only transaction that was pending further to our update. So it was only supposed to read 392 as per our latest update and not 392. Because this was the initial figure. Then we provided update and the auditor did confirm that they had received the updates on the additional vouchers. So it's only the 20,000.
There would be a error in the status of the update. But the initial factor is how the resolution is framed. So the second part should be the status of the update. Whether that 390 is still existing or not. That is not what is clear. So we must clear is that it is 20,000
that is pending, yeah.
And that one has not been reported to the list or
Which one? The 20,000?
Yes.
Now, we, like I said, we obtain documentation or attestation from the service provider as well as the board controller to say, okay, I've provided the service and the board controller acknowledged the fact that he received the service. We also printed the voucher from the system. So that much was feasible for this payment because it could not be traced.
So with that, you have confirmed that the service was provided. You can confirm that the service was provided.
Based on their attestation, that is what they attested to. $20,000, right leg off. Okay.
What was the service provided for the 20,000?
It no, it's saying when.
No, what was the service provided?
What or when?
What service was
it was
provided? You said you went to the service provider.
Maintenance of AC for one of the ministries.
Maintenance of AC for one of the
ministries. Yeah.
And just for clarification, did you submit that evidence here in October 2023 or did you provide it to NAO for further verification?
I submitted to your office and I have the letter reference that we used to submit that evidence.
Yeah, so I think what we need to do is I think the sufficiency of that evidence needs to be evaluated by NAO. So I think we can equally direct them by way of what serving, they can serve a copy to NAO as well.
That is to say, out of the 390,
Exactly. In fact, the 392, I believe there was an error with the whosoever was compiling this, because this was the only transaction that was pending further to our update. So it was only supposed to read 392 as per our latest update and not 392. Because this was the initial figure. Then we provided update and the auditor did confirm that they had received the updates on the additional vouchers. So it's only the 20,000.
There would be a error in the status of the update. But the initial factor is how the resolution is framed. So the second part should be the status of the update. Whether that 390 is still existing or not. That is not what is clear. So we must clear is that it is 20,000
that is pending, yeah.
And that one has not been reported to the list or
Which one? The 20,000?
Yes.
Now, we, like I said, we obtain documentation or attestation from the service provider as well as the board controller to say, okay, I've provided the service and the board controller acknowledged the fact that he received the service. We also printed the voucher from the system. So that much was feasible for this payment because it could not be traced. Based on their attestation, that is what they attested to. $20,000, right? Let go.
From the board control. Now I think the committee can evaluate based on what the attestation they have got and the payment voucher that they have got, and because it's not changing, like they're not presenting any new information. Yeah, exactly.
So you provide all the relevant documentation.
That's here somehow. What they are providing is an attestation from the service provider and the vote controller. These were not part of the initial documentation that was provided. So now, this is something that the committee cannot decide on. We need your guided expertise to really provide advice on the sufficiency or otherwise of those documentation. Once we have that, we can pave the way forward. So I would still advise that we allow the Auditor General to advise us on that. Based on the new documentation they are provided. From there, we can draw a conclusion. Because we will not be in a position to say this is not sufficient or this is okay. You know, we might like the professional standing. Thank you.
We can provide additional comments on the sufficiency or lack of it of the additional attestation that is being provided, and then report back to the committee on that. Yes, thank you.
At least you should applaud us from billions to 20,000. Huh? In fact, this one you should write of Mr. Chia.
It's not material.
I know it's the nature in terms of materiality, but okay, thank you.
All right. So the level there is. That is resolution 30. That the Auditor General and Accountant General's Department was then so that has been submitted to the National Assembly. The draft accounts for the government for the year 2021 have also been submitted to the National Audit, and the planning phase of the audit has already been commenced. That is the update or the status of the update. And on the remarks, the draft accounts of the government for the years 2021 and 2022, 2021 and 2022 have already been submitted to the National Audit Office, NAO. Yeah, so that's the update on that. Accountant General, Auditor General, do you have any comment on that?
Yes. Submitted the draft accounts for 2021 and 2022, and the audit of those draft accounts have also been completed, and the management letter has been shared with the Accountant General for the management letter of 2021 and 2022. So that we can confirm. Thank you. And 2022 audit of the government accounts for 2021 and 2022. Yes.
At what stage now?
It is at the management letter response. Yes.
Was carried out to certify the volume and extent of the works that was carried out at the State House. This was the basis for the payment of the 17,488,155.63 to Guy Enterprise. The assessment was done prior to the approval from DBA on the 29th March 2019 and contract signing on 2nd May 2019. The specific approval was sought for the use of the single source well after this rehabilitation work was completed. Goods bought from the Fatima trading amounting to 5,637,000 were delivered to the office of the president on
Number 30 resolution is on page 13.
on 11 by 2019, before requesting for approval from the GP on 2nd April 2019. The service of Fatima trading were 3 weeks before seeking single source approval from GBA. Review of payment voucher number indicated and the date indicated is 21st December 2019. Revealed that the office equipment to tune of $50,251 was paid to Fatima Trading. No receipt was provided as well as signature or of recipient and confirmed payment receipt, although these items were delivered. The purchase order, the request for quotations were only used 4 days after the payment has been made to the supplier on 27 December 2019. On that, all institutions are to take note. Accountant General, the
institutions like
also is not act as well.
Act with respect to which of the issues?
That is, the issue is on the resolution, that is to say, effective immediately. Board controllers to refund government all money spent to single source procurement that have not been authorized prior to any purpose. That means effective, all institutions should be notified about that.
So here you would want us to send a circular to that effect?
Of course.
Okay.
That is effective, they should be aware of that, or otherwise, if anybody acted otherwise, they will face the consequence.
Can I just also bring out something, Mr. Chair? Sometimes you have instances where an MD would ask for request for single sourcing, and this is duly authorized by GPPA. But sometimes it turned out that perhaps the auditors deemed it not necessary for it to go to a single sourcing procurement process. So we do have instances like that. So in as much as we would have to communicate, but I think at some point arbitration has to be done. Because sometimes auditors will say, okay, it did not warrant a single sourcing. And the entity will be like, no, 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 I have gone through the due process. And if GPPA had deemed it not necessary or not allowed for single sourcing, they should have rejected this. So these are kind of situations that we do face. But auditors would be adamant to say, no, no, they do not accept. But in this case, I think now it should be between now, the GPPA, because they are mandated to do due diligence prior to them approving, between them and perhaps the auditors or whoever needs to come on board to arbitrate. Because sometimes it's not because there is no authority, but there is authority, but it is questioned by the auditors.
Thank you, Colonel. I also agree with her part. One part that I will agree with her is that if the procurement was approved by the GPPA for single source, and then there were question marks around the justifications being advanced were not very strong from an auditor's point of view, that one we cannot clearly say that those refunds people should have, because the right authority has approved. We may have concerns about whether it should have been approved or not, and it has been approved. But I think in the case concerned here with this particular resolution is about those ones that were not having single source authorizations that went ahead being single source. And that is where now the Accountant General should list out, they know these payment vouchers, they know the vote controllers who authorized them, and they should identify those list of vote controllers and communicate the resolution and the instruction in the resolution to those relevant vote controllers. Because this is not talking about justification that we are insufficient. It's talking about not having a single source approval in the first place. Thank you.
What we are questioning is that much action was taken before approval was actually done. So at that point, it has gone beyond the approval of the GPPA or whoever. What we are questioning is why did they happen before? Because, for example, if you have already delivered the goods before even an invoice has been, so it means that I think that is the matter that we should not that the Auditor General or the GPP have not done their approval, or they should have picked it, because they cannot pick something that has already been done. All they can do now, what we expect them to do, is to send it back and say they shouldn't even look at it at that point, because it has already been, action had already been taken. So it was just a matter of covering up what was done, so that they would, to the face of the whatever that action, that due process was taken, when in fact it was a cover-up, and that is in fact a crime.
To reform government, all money spent on single source procurement that have not been authorized prior to any effective from that time onwards to reform it. And this is what should be communicated to all vote controllers.
You know this.
Otherwise, by now, if anybody does it, you are not wanting.
This resolution went to all the
What I'm saying, you know,
So
what we do
what
here is
I'm
public.
saying,
I
I want to
wouldn't even
understand,
expect
is it
them to
starting
do.
after the
Whatever is not
resolution was
issued by the public.
or before?
What we say is already assume that they have, I mean, they know. Yes.
This resolution was communicated.
We need protection around this area. Can you provide that? Yeah, I think the resolution is clear, and the AG also have clearly dwelt into the issue of jurisdiction as to who is responsible for compliance when it comes to what? Procurement. There is no ambiguity in that. But we must know the spirit of the resolution. What the resolution is trying to do is to serve as a deterrent. And now the issue is who should have done the communication. As the Accountant General's Department, was it the Minister of Finance? Was it the Vice President? You know, so you ask me, I wouldn't hold them accountable for not doing the communication. But Chair is also right. Now we are source procurement without having the required approvals. You know? So, and as such, the only thing I would also propose is maybe internally later we can sit with AGD and our legal department. We look at this resolution 34, because by looking at it myself, I have some concerns. But that I would like us to deal with internally. You know. So thank you, Chair. Okay. We now have the floor after you. Yes, I'm requesting the floor from you. Okay, I'm requesting before you are done.
I'm calling. The comment you made is not the resolution. Yes. Yeah, I think that's why when I asked, what you have, the statement that you have made, that one is not related to this one. And we have heard from them, and we have them to notify that effective on the 18th, the ladies will nobody should act without the approval. Found that message was not given yet. We did not say who to do the now we are given the authorization to the Accountant General to do the by now I'm not saying somebody has flouted, but if that happens, then there will be no excuse.
To your notice that As members, we have to be very responsible. And being responsible means taking the matters before us seriously. And we cannot do that if we keep debating just to get some cheap attention. What we have in front of us is crystal clear. That should serve as a deterrent. The people who are bringing all the issues. These are the things we do, and at the end of the day, the public don't have any respect for the National Assembly. Because you just want cheap popularity. We are honorable men and women. Speak of substance with regards to what is in front of you. Okay, we are here, we come from different political backgrounds. But when we sit in this committee, you do our work objectively. So don't sit here and think you can be comfortable to ridicule people who are leaders to others. And you think things will go work as normal. If we want to work here objectively, take politics outside this door. You bring it inside this room, you will destroy this assembly. Because this assembly is supposed to be what? Impartial. So, Honorable Chair, you know what we do? Please carve in your indulgence. If anybody brings politics on the table here, tell them to leave. No. I'm telling you, anybody who brings politics, tell them to leave. Okay? And let her withdraw. Okay, you can move.
Order.
No, you are tolerating a rupture and it has to stop.
I am a respected honorable member.
No, this lady listen. Her respect is based on misinformation and lies. No, I'm telling you. No, off her mic. No, see you talk. Off her mic. No. What seems you is looking for cheap popularity, first of lies, and misinformation. That is not right.
Respected honorable member in this country.
Point of order, Honorable Chair.
Point of order. You order, let go order. I like that you them.
Rising on point of order.
No.
Honorable members, I think I have addressed the issue. Please. Sorry, no, Honorable, please. Honorable, please. If you are not given the mic, we don't have to talk. Please. Let's respect the care. I have addressed the issue. And that is my observation. I believe that's the observation the Honorable also. And that is generous. Please, let's limit our intervention on this subject. Our today's work, we are reviewing the updates. We have little work to do. It is the people that we invited that have the bulk of work to do. What we gave them, whether they have done that or not. If there are things that are not forthcoming, we put that to them. This is what we should be doing. To me, comments, we have less comment to do. Have they done the work? What is done and what is not done? This is what we should be doing. For any honorable, please, I've heard all of you. I just want to close this chapter. So anything other than that, if we have concerns, we can ask.
Yes.
But we limit our comments. Our comments would be what should be our remarks on action point that will be given to the plenary regarding the objects that we are given. But this is resolution, or this is resolution. We cannot add anything to this. All that we have to do is whether this has been implemented or not. We cannot add anything. Please, having made that remark, I'm appealing. We close that chapter.
Yes.
For God and Jesus' sake.
Let's move. Let's continue.
But the Accountant General has to do with 35, I believe. I stand to be corrected.
Yeah.
that all ministries must provide to FPAC on or before 28 September 2023 all projects under their ministries for both self-accounting and non-self-accounting projects, and the people that are overseeing these projects. On the status, the following institutions provided their list of projects: Ministry of Environment, Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Gender, Ministry of Transport, Office of the Vice President. All the MDAs did not comply must do so immediately without delay. That is why we are confirming that these are the institutions that comply. And it means in the remarks, there are other institutions that are yet to comply. Also take on that, Accountant General.
Of course, they submitted directly to the National Assembly as to whether or as to the requirement for us to spearhead this. I am not aware, but I am privy to the fact that they received the communication, that's the resolution, and they responded. So I'm not sure where we are required to come in here.
Can we take that?
I don't think that. So why are you?
Yeah, it was not provided to FPAC. So now that's why FPAC is making an action point for that to happen. This was the resolution requesting, but this did not happen. And that's why we are saying, not the institutions now, but the heads, like the Accountant General or the Office of the Vice President, to ensure that that happens.
Public service delivery.
Yes, sir.
Where we believe that you might be in a position to know all the projects, right? So as a starting point, if we can have a comprehensive list from you, we'll be in a better position to reconcile it against anything that you might be receiving from OBP.
Yes, I have the list of the projects. So that much we should be able to do.
Honorable Chair, then can we do it both ways?
Have a list of these 5 ministries.
List of
projects up to date?
Projects.
On the
4 MDs.
On the conditions and the status of all these projects, whether they were completed and all that, because that was the reason, maybe that is the reason why we asked for the list of projects. And we have 5. Are they up to date? Have they been completed? Have they complied? I think that is the reason why we
I think the ones that are listed at once confirm that they are provided.
They are provided a list of their projects. But what is the
list of institutions that have this self-accounting or not self-accounting projects? Are these list? Are these ministries? So other ministries we are yet to confirm where they have this self-accounting and not self-accounting projects. So that's what we are further asking for that also to be provided.
Time.
What do we do now? This has been like over 2 years. This has been like nearly a year from September 2023, and they are yet to provide. So what do we do going forward?
That is the update we are now requesting for her also to raise the next step.
Mr. Chair, that is the problem. We cannot just say go back. We should say this is we have waited 1 year and you have not complied. If you do not now this, but just don't say go and bring, because then we will wait another year, and then if they don't bring, they will say okay, go and bring again. So what do we do?
The essence of this resolution is that the ministry and the accountant should be in position to know institutions that are self-accounting and not self-accounting. This was not the case before. That was the query point. And we are saying that that should be regularized. That should be known to the Accountant General and the Ministry of Finance. That's the essence of the audit. Now that we are trying to confirm, some complied and they were able to get that information. Others, they are yet to get that information. And now we are bound to say that they should get that information. That's the query from the auditors.
And what I'm saying is, it's been a year.
If I can
understand, if it's been a year, and on that, what do you think we should now do?
We will start arresting.
Call the police.
What is happening?
That's what you want.
Sorry. Look at the resolution.
Yes, on the public.
It says that
Public
all ministries must provide. We are having ADD in front of us. If we must act now, let's start calling the ministries one by one.
Exactly.
Then you act on them.
That's the best.
What we are trying to do is leverage on the access that EGD have so that we can have information that will serve as a baseline
That's a good
to reconcile the we have from OPP. But the resolution point is absolute. In its demands, it says that all ministries must provide one. So I strongly believe we are on track. So we can request for the list on those schools.
What happened? The Ministry of Justice to provide to the Auditor General and EFPAC relevant documents including the Journal Commission Treasury receipt amounting to the amount 22,391,957.92 and other information pertaining to the sale of the assets of the former President Jammeh on or before 28 September 2023. Failing that the Inspector General of Police must launch an investigation and report to EFPAC within 90 days. Appointment qualification. The following documentation are yet to be received by the National Audit Office, the legal gazette establishing the Commission, the Cabinet White Paper, the advertisement for the auction, the appointment, qualification, certification of values, valuation of reports of the subject matter, and list of the buyers. Now, this was what was not forthcoming by the deadline that is 28.
At the Ministry of Justice, a high-level meeting, and in attendance was the Accountant General as well as the Auditor General, the big man himself. And of course, I believe we are yet to receive the documentation, but they committed themselves to provide the documentation, and they had a kind of heap of documents, and they've confirmed that they've gotten all the required documentation. So we had requested that they submit this directly to the Auditor General and copy us. So, but I believe I tried to obtain an update on that as of yesterday, but there was this particular document that was pending. Once they received it, they should be able to provide the required document. As to the extent of what has been obtained, I can't maybe specify, but we had agreed that they should list all the documents that were available and submit to the Auditor General. So I'm of the view that most of these documents now are available, and but to what extent, of course, when it's received by the Auditor General, he should be able to confirm and perhaps let us know what the residual documents are. But this much I know that Ministry of Justice has done, and yeah, that's the update.
And the promise that we got from the Attorney General and the Minister and his team was to provide this documentation as is rightly stated. So we are waiting for them, that they will submit and inventorize everything that they submit to us. For example, they will itemize all the list of documents that they have as per the original request that we made, and then they will bring that to our attention and copy the accountant that this list of and view, and then provide them with the feedback and up to date. But just to note that I think a caveat here that this is the same request to the 2022 and 2021 audit. Therefore, or the 2020 accounts, I want to believe it may be there may be some complementary information relating to 2019 and 2020, but what we have been discussing was mostly, I'm sure, Clara, I think you will agree that it was 2021 and 2022, because that was the two issues that we were particularly discussing. So I'm not sure the issue of the previous issue was clarified.
I believe they had submitted a list of documentation during the audit of 2019 and 2020 as to the extent of what you would require. That's another matter, but I know the chunk of the receipts were submitted, for which I still have a copy in my office, but this was officially submitted. Of course, one would want to say that, in fact, the chunk of the sales were carried out during those 2020 and 2019. These were just few transactions we had in the subsequent year, but information in that regard was submitted. But of course, this was a continuous process. But if you still need that documentation, I'm not sure it's part of, whether it's part of the current package, but I still have the documentation they submitted in relation to the prior years. Yeah.
Yes, we can confirm that with them. I think some of the matters will relate to both years. For example, the appointment issues and all of that will of course transcend beyond the period of 2022 and 2021. But we will have to come back to the House and give a feedback and update after we receive those documentation. Because the same issue is related to the audit of 2022 and 2021. Thank you.
Resolution is supposed to be updated. Okay?
On this.
Update on the submission.
Any other issue? But I believe that.
It's already been referred to the police since December, and now it's nearly a year. Should they come and give us an update?
That's why
I'm asking the chair. It should be on record that we should. Mr. Chair, what I'm saying, we are done with them. It's been referred to the police. We have just agreed. So now we should go for it. It's for record purposes. I'm not saying they will come, but I'm saying if, and then the police will come and give us an update for record purposes. We should conclude, we should have full sentences when we say things, because the public, this is for public consumption. Otherwise, if you stop watching us from here or following from here, it has been referred to the police, then the police will come and give an update. No, I am not.
For today, we have the Accountant General, the police, and the Office of the Vice President, for them to give us update on the resolutions. Matters referring or connected to any of them, that's what they will give you the update. And this one also is very clear there, refer to the police for investigation. Okay? And then in the morning, that was what we were doing, trying to spot out. The ones refer to the police, the ones refer to the Accountant General and the National Police.
But we shouldn't do them this morning. We sent them this morning. Hope not they clash. Maybe there was a clash.
Separate one.
Okay, we have some more other issues. Yes, sir.
All right.
Okay?
Noted.
Okay, Mr. Chair. Okay.
Noted. It's Thursday, 31st. Submission. It's Thursday, yeah.
All the information that we give. Clara, what do you have to say?
It's okay.
It's okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you too.
Thank
Very
you.
proactive, I can see that.
Next.